With me today, I'm extremely excited to share Dr. Annelise Bunce. She's a South African homeopath. So whenever we do these interviews, whenever we have these conversations, the hope is that when we send this back to our members in South Africa, that we have more people starting to attend LMHI for many reasons. The fact that you're exposed to international conversations, to see what we need to be talking about in South Africa. And, just for the experience, the camaraderie, and we're all part of one family. So we're doing this interview now with Dr. Annelise Bunce to find out what has your experience so far been of LMHI.
So I decided yesterday to sit in the hall because we had obviously different options, which is really nice because homeopathy is so diverse, and I actually didn't know there's something like agro-homeopathy. Like I knew there was veterinary, and I decided not to go to the veterinary section and rather attend the agro.
Yeah.
And the first one, so that is using homeopathy on plants. And the first one was actually a PhD study, which was obviously very well conducted, but the one that I really remember, because I work with pictures in my head, was so simple in the way that it was basically, there was a house plant and it was dead, and the lady had it for long, and she just used homeopathics, and 15 days after took photos, and then 30 days after, and just seeing that picture and how this plant was in a house for 2 years. So she would say it is a chronic case, and then she used homeopathy, and how the plant just totally flowered, and then you just realize,
I know, it's sort of, you see how homeopathy works in your practice, but when you're looking at a different living being having that kind of a response, it really sort of, even for us,
yes,
as you still have that moment of like, wow, that is amazing. And other talks, what else has stood out for you?
I did like the talk on imponderabilias. So that are the things that obviously can't be touched, like your magnets and air, and I've never used it in practice. And
so
it
that
was
different.
Very different
to what we would be experiencing and seeing in our training in South Africa.
Definitely. So that what was very interesting every time is because it was very well presented, because they took pictures and videos every time of the patients. So it was, you were sitting in the consultation, and there was most probably 5 different snippets taken from 5 different patients, and every time when the homeopathic remedy was given and it was a success, the first thing you see is that patient smiling. Every time you sit there and you feel so down and depressed with this person going, because these were very intense cases of abandonment, and you just felt so depressed. The background seemed depressed, everything, and then even how the patient themselves decided to represent themselves and their background. And the first thing every time is they almost have got this internal giggle and they smile. And you almost don't, I get goosebumps thinking about it, and just again the strength of homeopathy. And that even those very intense cases, there is a scope for that, and we unfortunately don't necessarily see it, because I think patients, definitely in my practice, would have already been on antidepressants. They would have already been on lithium and sent maybe to like a psychiatric ward.
Absolutely. So, for me, what I thought was quite interesting is having these interviews with people and having the conversations with practitioners, and I've come across our patient organizations. So Europe is really strong with patient organizations that are actually promoting homeopathy. I think we get very sucked in to the bubble of looking for peer-reviewed content and communicating with our peers. We never actually stop and experience the patient's perspective. So in some of these interviews, and I said to them, because the theme of this conference is the joy of homeopathy. And having asked them, well, how has homeopathy brought you joy? And the answers have been mind-blowing. They've said things like, it's allowed me to trust in a medicine. It's helped me to look after my family. It's made me feel that I have control of my health. I mean, these are really big things when you're looking at, putting the patient at the center of care.
And that's another thing that I didn't realize. We don't have it in South Africa.
No.
We don't have this organization that they've got. It's called EPFA in Europe.
Yes.
And it's an entire organization of the patients of homeopathy.
Yes.
And they are our best advertisement.
Yes.
And that's something maybe in South Africa that we have to link and start.
We have to figure it out. Because the support is there. There's just no organization. Literally and figuratively, that there's no. And I mean, these patients are, they are there at policy meetings, and they are there, advocating for homeopathy and doing all these kinds of things. Mind blowing, the kind of things that we as practitioners, or at least as us as HSA members and HSA National Board, have taken on our shoulders to do.
Yes.
These patient organizations are actually doing. So I find that quite fascinating. Has there been anything else that you've thought has been interesting or different, or that maybe was something that you hadn't seen before?
I've never seen Ashley Ross really talk.
Yes.
I must say, I was a very proud South African sitting in that room.
Flags were waving.
He really presented it well. I when I just looked at the title, I would not have gone sit there. But I was like, no, let me. And he really spoke so well and actually presented it so well. I think it was probably one of the best sessions that I actually sat with. Yes.
No, that's great. I attended a very interesting talk which I've shared with everyone, with the HSA members, on how AI, how much can we trust AI? So you'll go and have a look at the videos, because I actually, thank goodness, I was recording the entire thing. But that there is still, at this point, certainly, the need for the human. We need the human perspective. We need that human thought pattern, that we can't actually rely on AI, that actually there is nothing at this point that is here to replace us. So
we can maybe as practitioners use AI, but AI won't replace us, just like with a physio. There's just a preschool teacher. I really do think homeopathy is still safe there. They want to talk, they want to look in your eyes. What is that saying? A patient might not remember everything you told them, but they will always remember the way you
made them feel.
And I can't do that. That sense of that somebody I was by somebody else.
So having said that, would you come to LMHI again?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it depends on if we can get there. If they have it in some corner of the world that there's no flights from South Africa, probably not. But you come again?
You always have to represent whatever you are part of.
Yes,
and obviously try to be as involved at the level that you can. And this is a very good starting point, and and that is the pinnacle as well, I suppose, of everything.
Yes. For me, what's been interesting as well, particularly this particular LMHI, being here and looking at it from a different perspective, it's been wonderful to see finally collaboration, where we've got ECH here, we've got patient organizations here, we've got industry here, we've got HRI here. Who else?
Okay.
We've got representation from India. We've got, I think we have people from CCRH. It's been, and we've obviously got representation from all the different countries.
Yes.
The Netherlands has an amazing patient group. I need to actually get their details. It is unbelievable. They have newsletters, and I mean, it's profound. So I need to get hold of them as well. But it's been lovely to see that collaboration, like everybody coming from all over the world. It's like really sort of becoming more
So it's
organized.
different from you from other times, but I've never been.
Definitely.
Because you've been to Cuba, right?
It was in Colombia.
Oh, Colombia.
I've never seen so much collaboration.
Okay.
I've never seen so much.
How many have you attended?
I've been to Turkey, Colombia, Spain. This is my fourth one.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So, there's definitely been sort of a movement, and I obviously missed all the pre-COVID congresses, but there's definitely been a movement towards Are you in homeopathy? You are? You promote it? Yes, come on board. What do you do for homeopathy? This is how, okay, yes, come on board. So we're now finally starting to actually see, you know, if this was a Lego building, we're now starting to see it take shape. I think that's so encouraging. I think it's really encouraging, and what we're hoping to sort of achieve through this is to create a communication network that if something's going out, I mean, let's say for example there's something that's about to hit the media in India as an example, right? How do we communicate that around the world so that we can create more of a ripple?
But isn't that what COVID gave us? I think
Yes,
prior to COVID, we were nervous to communicate on Zoom and use it, you know, this online platform. We thought we had to be there. We had to make that. And COVID gave us, I was like, no, you can sit in South Africa and you can still have a meaningful relationship, build a meaningful relationship and have a good conversation. So it's just sped up.
Yeah, completely.
The collaboration.
Incredible. And I mean, that's over 4 years to see that. I also think it has a lot to do with the presidency of the LMHI. Okay. And I'm just fortunate to have I've only seen Annelise. I imagine that in previous years, obviously previous presidents have done huge things. But I've seen that over the years, over those 3 years. So it's sad to see her go, but I'm really excited to see Bernardo step in, and he's dynamic and exciting and has his own things planned as well.
And I think that's what also came out a bit with Ashley, is like the new leadership and where we're seeing ourselves is that at the end of the day, it's an aging profession. Like most people, what, 70% are above 55?
Yeah.
So like, I feel old and we're the youngsters here.
I know. We are the youngsters.
I think it's really like the median age, like
I know.
70s.
I know.
So we do need the young people. We do need. So what are we doing wrong that youngsters don't see homeopathy as a viable profession?
That's a big story. Because I think if you look in Europe, it's different with how they are trained. So they're really only getting into homeopathy after a medical degree. Whereas in homeopathy, we're going straight from secondary into tertiary, which is great. And that's what makes our sort of population of homeopaths in South Africa some of the youngest homeopaths in the world. So we are literally the new kids on the block, literally.
And that was also positive from actually that came actually out that South Africa, possibly China, Colombia, and who else we are actually strong in homeopathy. We are like we are not dying in our countries because of we are doing stuff community based.
Yes, very very much.
We're cooler, and I think those places are unfortunately in Europe. It sounds like they are getting a lot of pressure, flack, whatever, you know, that homeopathy is, they have to fight for it. I think with us, we actually just are getting the work done, and the work is in these communities are talking for us. So I think from that perspective, it seems like we are safe. And
well, I think it actually leans back to, I think it was in Spain, they had that advisor from the World Health Organization who actually spoke, and one of the questions that was asked was what can we do better? You know, what can we do that can move us to the next step? And he said, prove your contribution to the public. I think that's what we're doing well. I think that's what we need to keep focusing on, is we need to prove how we are contributing to the public. So in Europe, sure, they have that battle, but they have the strength of their patient associations, which is great.
Yes.
Whereas in South Africa, sure, we may not have patient associations, but we are proving our contribution to the public. So I think all things are neutral, right? It may feel topsy-turvy, but actually all things are neutral. So enjoy the rest of the conference. I'll see you around, and we'll let you know if there's any more highlights.